You think you want real transformation. You watch discipline and mindset videos constantly. You make plans and set goals. You imagine a completely different future. But somehow, nothing fully changes permanently. Because deep down, many people secretly enjoy the feeling of almost becoming better, almost starting the business finally, almost becoming disciplined and focused consistently, almost changing their entire life completely. That almost feeling feels emotionally safe. It gives hope without real pressure, progress without painful transformation costs, excitement without uncomfortable responsibility attached. That is where people get trapped. Real change is emotionally demanding daily. It requires painful consistency under pressure. It forces uncomfortable identity reconstruction internally and removes many comforting escape behaviors. Most people are not prepared emotionally. So instead, they stay near transformation, researching instead of building consistently daily, planning instead of executing uncomfortable actions, watching instead of becoming someone different. That becomes their permanent comfort zone. They confuse preparation with real progress constantly, because preparation feels productive emotionally inside. It creates temporary satisfaction and momentum without requiring difficult behavioral change immediately. That illusion becomes psychologically addictive slowly. Your brain loves imagined future success deeply because imagined success feels rewarding immediately without requiring difficult action or sacrifice. You feel productive before accomplishing anything real. That creates dangerous emotional deception internally. So people consume endless self-improvement content constantly, new systems and motivational advice daily, not always to transform their lives, but sometimes to feel emotionally hopeful temporarily, without confronting deeper behavioral resistance honestly. That is why some people endlessly prepare. They keep reorganizing and restarting repeatedly, always close to serious transformation emotionally, but never fully committing under real pressure, because almost feels safer than actual change. Almost becoming better protects your current identity. You can still imagine massive future potential without proving anything through difficult execution, without risking visible failure or disappointment. That safety keeps people permanently stuck. Because real commitment removes comfortable fantasies quickly. Once action begins, reality starts speaking honestly. Your weaknesses become impossible to ignore anymore. Your excuses lose emotional protection immediately, and that becomes deeply uncomfortable psychologically. So many people unconsciously avoid full commitment, not because they hate success completely, but because success creates emotional responsibility afterward. It demands consistency beyond temporary inspiration, and many people secretly fear that. You must understand this clearly now. Potential means absolutely nothing by itself. Ideas mean nothing without difficult execution. Dreams mean nothing without behavioral proof consistently. Only actions create real transformation permanently. Your future changes through repeated uncomfortable execution, not endless emotional preparation cycles repeatedly, not consuming motivational content every night, not imagining your future life constantly, but acting despite internal resistance daily. That means you must stop romanticizing potential. Potential is not an achievement itself. Almost becoming better changes absolutely nothing. Your life responds only to execution consistently. That is the uncomfortable truth completely. First, notice your preparation addiction honestly. How often do you endlessly consume information? How often do you restart systems repeatedly? How often do you delay difficult execution? That awareness exposes your real pattern. Second, reduce unnecessary self-improvement consumption immediately. Too much consumption creates fake productivity feelings. You feel mentally active without real movement. That destroys urgency and execution momentum slowly. Action must replace endless consumption now. Third, start before feeling emotionally prepared internally. Preparation can become sophisticated procrastination eventually. You do not need perfect clarity first. You need movement despite internal uncertainty. That builds real confidence gradually afterward. Fourth, create consequences for inaction consistently. Comfort keeps patterns emotionally protected otherwise. Your brain avoids urgency without real pressure, so make avoidance more emotionally expensive. That increases behavioral accountability significantly. Fifth, measure execution instead of intention daily. Stop rewarding yourself for planning alone. Stop celebrating imagined future productivity mentally. Track completed actions and difficult follow-through. That reconnects discipline with reality again. Disciplined people are not endlessly preparing constantly. They're executing before feeling fully ready. They understand discomfort is completely unavoidable and stop negotiating with resistance emotionally. That creates powerful forward momentum consistently. Real growth feels less exciting sometimes because real growth becomes repetitive and structured, less emotional hype and dramatic inspiration, more quiet, consistent execution under pressure. That is what actually changes lives. Your identity changes through completed actions repeatedly, not through imagined future versions of yourself mentally, not through motivational emotional experiences temporarily, but through behavioral evidence accumulated daily. That is how self-respect develops naturally. Right now, ask yourself something honestly. Are you truly pursuing transformation seriously, or are you emotionally attached to potential, attached to imagining future greatness constantly, without embracing present uncomfortable execution fully? Many people love the idea of discipline, but hate the reality of discipline, because discipline removes emotional escape routes eventually and forces confrontation with personal weakness directly. Most people avoid that confrontation entirely. That is why years quietly disappear sometimes. People stay permanently almost ready emotionally inside, always preparing for future transformation eventually, always waiting for perfect internal conditions magically, but never fully stepping forward consistently. Meanwhile, life keeps moving without permission. Opportunities disappear and momentum fades slowly. Potential slowly turns into regret eventually, not because success was impossible originally, but because action stayed permanently delayed. So stop worshiping your future potential endlessly. Potential alone will never change anything. Your life changes through repeated difficult action, not imagined future versions of yourself mentally. Execution is what creates transformation, finally. The goal is not feeling inspired constantly. The goal is acting under emotional resistance, even when motivation completely disappears temporarily, even when discomfort feels emotionally overwhelming internally. That is real self-discipline developing gradually. Because eventually you must choose honestly, stay addicted to almost becoming better forever, or finally become someone through execution consistently. One creates comforting fantasies and delay. The other completely changes your life. Watch next. Your old self is quietly pulling you back. This explains why change feels internally difficult, why old habits keep returning repeatedly afterward, and why identity fights transformation emotionally. That is the next layer now.